Hey YouTube, Awesome Writer here. Welcome to my review for Kikai Sentai Zenkaiger Episode 2. This was the debut of Gaon, and it was the debut of the Mecha, the first version with JuraGaon and Gaon for ZenkaiOh. And you know, it was an okay episode. I really quite enjoyed the first episode. This one was okay. As I said in the beginning of the review of the first one, this series really has the potential to be enjoyable. It also has the potential to be really annoying. Just anniversary stuff and just annoying toku stuff in general. And this episode, I think, veered a little more towards the annoying, but there was some stuff I enjoyed. We ended on a cliffhanger last week with the mushrooms going on everyone's head and everything, and we pick up this week kind of zooming out, showing like how the villains got to that point where they did that, and they're basically like, oh, who the Zenkaigers? And they're like, oh, well, there were Sentai like that on other worlds, and let's come up with this mushroom plan. And they kind of showcase how the villains are going to work, which is basically, they have these gears that we saw in the first episode encapsulate the worlds. They give it to one of their guys, and then the Monster of the Week's powers basically embodies everything about that world, and that's how that works. And like when the villains meet the heroes in this episode, they kind of compare notes and like, oh yeah, we both use gears. And I can't believe it took me till this moment to realize that that's very similar to the way Rider powers usually work, because in Rider, more often than not, the Rider's powers are somehow tied to or are similar to the villains. So I think that's kind of interesting. It'll be interesting to see where they go with that in the future with anything. Maybe there'll be some Sentai villains or something like that. Who knows? But basically, the premise, other than the mushroom stuff, is the Zenkaigers are recruiting. And so, Zenkaiser and JuraGaon are going around, and they're riding on JuraGaon in his robot form, and they're having a big poster up. It's kind of entertaining. It's a little stupid, but it was kind of funny. And they're like, we want like 10 members. 15 members? I don't know. And it was kind of funny, and there's like a reporter that asked him a question at one point, which sort of reminded me of that scene in Dino Fury when Zayto was given a press conference. I don't know why, but probably because of the press conference. But you know what I mean. So I thought it was kind of funny. But basically, they can't get any takers, and people don't seem that interested, and they also don't seem to be too worried about the mushrooms. A bunch of stupid heads, honestly. And they do get one person interested in them, which is Gaon, who loves cute stuff, and he talks to Zenkaiser not because he wants to help, but because he thinks he's cute, and he likes cute things, but he hates kikanoids. I don't know whether there's going to be more to that, the reason he hates kikanoids, or if it's just simply for the bit that he prefers, like, cute animals to kikanoids. I mean, I'm the same way. I prefer animals to humans, but who knows? Maybe there'll be something more to it. Maybe it's just a dumb bit. But basically, he winds up finally deciding to help when the mushrooms, surprise, surprise, end up being something bad, and they basically cause a poisonous thing, and when that happens, it affects the animals as well, and that inspires Gaon to join the fight. He gets a changer, he joins up. It's funny that his first henshin sequence has a mushroom on his head, so that's kind of a thing. And then we get the battle, you know, some pretty cool fight scenes. I think what do we use this week? We used Denji Man earlier in the episode, because they had ribbons, and then they used Hurricaneger, and then they did kind of a version of their shadow fight, which looked pretty cool. And then when he grows big, T-Rex grows big, and then Lion follows suit, and when they don't get along, Zenkaiser tries to grow big, and realizes that his power doesn't do that. It's what combines them, and he mans the cockpit. And, you know, they kind of don't like each other. JuraGaon's kind of not amused by Gaon's personality, kind of like me. There's a funny part earlier, too, like when Gaon first gets his changer, he shoots one of the henchmen just like JuraGaon did, and he's like, I did that already. I actually really like the, transformation sequence. It looks like they're about to do a Dynamax battle, but then you have Zenkaiser kind of oversee in the stadium. Like, it's a lot, it's kind of loud, and the music kind of annoys me, but I think it's a unique sequence, and I found the overall mecha fight to be entertaining. I kind of like the different settings with the mushrooms around. There was some cool fighting beats to it and everything. And then, you know, we end the episode with, oh, like, the three of us need to get along, and, you know, we're gonna lead into next week where we recruit Majin, and we see Rune a couple times in this episode, and we see him at the end because Mushroom World has been liberated, and that's how it works. So once they defeat the monster, not only does the effect disappear, but once they finally defeat him, that world is liberated. So that obviously gives them a continued goal throughout the series. And one thing I do really like is the slower burn. Like, I like that we waited till the second episode to do the mecha, and we're doing each Ranger's intro one by one. I think that's kind of cool, and I like that Rune's kind of been built up in the background. So I do like that, and it's really funny because of how loud and fast and annoying the series can be, or has the potential to be, that they are taking their time with certain things, which just seems so out of character for a series like this, but I do appreciate that. Like I said, the fights were pretty cool within it. Zenkaiser doesn't seem to be too annoying so far. There's still some interesting things going on. I still like it okay, but this episode just was kind of more okay to annoying. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I don't really like Gaon's character so far. Like I also said, you know, maybe they'll do more with the reason he doesn't like kikanoids outside of a bit, but it also very well could could just be a bit. But for the most part, I just found him annoying. Like, there were some funny parts in this episode, but I found his character to be annoying. I think there was some little more annoying, more comedy-leaning parts. I said in the first episode, it didn't feel quite like, you know, it was like half serious, not serious, but half normal, half funny. It didn't feel like it was leaning towards Car Ranger parody stuff. This felt like it was leaning a little more toward that direction, a little more towards the silly and whatnot. I mean, obviously it's going to be kind of more of a fun series, but I wasn't as into it this week. But like I said, I do like the slow burn about it. There's still things I like about the powers and stuff, and I'll be interested to see where this goes. I still think it's a very unique series. But what did you guys think of the second episode? What did you think of the debut of the Mecha? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you can get my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.